queen of the Black Power rankings last week, and I'm sure SUG, she'd be up for it again. Bianca Belair is on Cheap Heat. Hey, Bianca.
Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to have you.
So happy to have you. I mean, this is I love talking to people when they're having, a moment in life. And this is not going to be the highest moment. And I'm sure there have been other highs along the way. So where are you in your Royal Rumble win high status? Have you come down to earth a little bit? How does it feel right now?
It's a great feeling. I will say this is probably the highest moment I've had in my WWE career. I can't say that, being the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, last woman standing out of 30 women. At first in the ring, I had the moment of, wow, I just won the Royal Rumble. And then I looked to the left and saw the WrestleMania. So I'm like, wow, I'm going to WrestleMania. So it's been crazy, but I've been trying to find my words. I feel like the best way to describe it is that, I'm a grown woman, right? I am a grown woman. But ever since winning the Royal Rumble, I have been feeling like a 5-year-old little girl. It's just the little girl is coming out of me. I'm just so happy. I'm full of joy, no care in the world, just happy. That's how I feel right now.
Oh, that's amazing. SGG, I'll let you jump right in. What do you got for Bianca Belair?
So I just want to start off a little light, right? Because I want to ask about your gear. Because I saw the gear at the Royal Rumble, and every event, I think you make your own gear. What inspired the Rumble gear? And then are you looking forward to what you want to do for WrestleMania? Do you have ideas? Is it going to be pirate themed also?
So I make my own gear. Every match I have, and I always usually for the big moments, I make the gear. I wear it once. I don't want to wear it again. I try not to, because I want to. Every time I look at my gear, I want to be able for it to take me back to a specific match that I had or a moment that I had. But every time I make my gear, I try to find a purpose or make it make sense. And so for the Royal Rumble, I was trying to think of a theme that makes sense. And then I looked at the comic book theme, and it's something I've always actually kind of wanted to play around with. And so I just drew inspiration from the Royal Rumble. I'm like, what's the better route than sticking with the Royal Rumble theme, which is the comic book theme. And then, I had Slay on my gear because I'm just I always show up, I always slay. So it just all made sense for me. And I wanted to feel like a superhero in the moment. And I feel like, it just really, I played off of my gear, and I was the superhero in that moment. For WrestleMania, I don't know. I feel like I've made my gear all the way up until this point, and I'm like, okay, if once I'm at WrestleMania now, so I have to make my gear now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, it has to live up to the hype. It has to be something big and amazing. I'm like, can I make something that good? And right now, I don't know. I will probably make 10 different gears, and then the night before, something will click in my head, and I'll be like, this is what I need to do, and I'll be up to 4 o'clock in the morning making my gear. So I don't know. I just know that it has to be something big and great. I don't know.
One thing that really touched a lot of people was the video of your parents watching the Royal Rumble, and it was amazing. I loved it. How much do you clue your parents into what's going on with Bianca Belair, the WWE superstar, or do you kind of give them a general idea, things are going well, oh, mom, work's good, blah, 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 and then let them just watch TV every week?
Well, my parents, they're so involved. They've been involved my whole life, no matter what I do. The way they are the way they are now with wrestling is how they were when I was in track and gymnastics, when I was in the Beta Club, when no matter what I did, they're just always full in. And with WWE, it's no different, but they come to every single big moment. They've been to every single takeover. They've been to every single pay-per-view that I've been a part of. And now it's crazy right now with how the world is. And I just always want them to feel like they're a part of the moment, but I never, they just watch. I never tell them anything. And it's funny because I'm always like, you have to come to this takeover. It's a big takeover. And I know they're always thinking she's going to win. And then they go and then I lose. And then they go and then I lose and I lose and I lose. So, when I had them set the camera up, they had they just were like, yeah, she just wants us to be a part of the moment. And so when I won, they were just like that was like raw, real emotion for them. They're just like such proud parents, and I always want to bring them along the journey any type of way that I can. But they're just there watching. They don't really know like the ins and outs of anything. They're just like proud parents and fans.
Oh, that's amazing. That's the dream. SGG, somehow my parents did not video themselves when I won the 24/7 championship that night.
Yeah, it's sort of ridiculous.
I mean, it's crazy because Bianca and I both made history. I believe I was the first Jewish broadcaster to ever win the 24/7 championship.
I think so.
Where's my chronicle? Where's my day of?
That's a big deal. We gotta get you a chronicle.
The chronicle was really cool. I mean, people got a lot more insight. One thing that I took away from it was, obviously anyone who pays attention knows your athletic past and how serious you were in track. But the thing about being nicknamed FloJo and sort of, the role that she played to, everybody, but specifically the little Black girls, I imagine, who were involved in track and field, was special. How does it feel to you to already be at your young age sort of playing a role like that for little Black girls who watch wrestling and now seeing someone that they could believe in and that looks like them?
For me, it's an amazing feeling. It's it's one thing to have a job and be able to put food in your mouth and put a roof over your head, but it's a whole other thing to have purpose. And that's what gives my job purpose. That's what gives, like, what I do, it brings purpose to me. It's my why, it's my motivation to do what I do. And it's an amazing feeling because I know that I am where I am right now because of, growing up and seeing women like FloJo and being on the track and hearing like people cheering, like, go FloJo, go FloJo. And knowing who that is and seeing what she accomplished and seeing what she looked like, that gave me confidence. And that really it helped me navigate like my place in this world and like made me think about what are my possibilities. And it, even Dominique Dawes and Gail Devers, these women, I am where I am right now because I saw myself in them and I saw them accomplishing things, and it made me know that it was possible for me. So it's amazing to know that I'm now in this position where I am doing the same thing for other people, and I'll be able to have like a positive impact and influence on their life. And, then they'll grow up and they'll be able to keep doing it for someone else. And even like I always say, like, even if it's something that you want to do and you don't see someone else doing it, then you become the representation, you open the door. And it's just an amazing feeling. It's like, it's not even about boosting my ego. It's just about purpose and I love having purpose in what I do. And it just I want to have fun with what I do. And it's great.
So speaking of purpose, right? What do you think? How can I word this question so that I don't get you in any trouble? Because I want you to walk out of WrestleMania with a championship, right? But I feel like in terms of inspiring Black girls, the match that does that is you and Sasha Banks. But in terms of getting you a championship, I feel like it could be anybody in that role and you would walk out of WrestleMania with the championship. So do you want to, at WrestleMania, without saying what you're going to do, go for the match that is inspiring to like the young Black girls growing up everywhere, and Black boys too, who could see you doing what you do, or the one that's selfishly gonna pad your resume a little bit more, get you a championship, and then really strap the rocket to your back, or I guess put more fuel in the rocket that's on your back?
Right now I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea what my decision or choice is going to be. But like I say, being in the position I am, I always say, like, I don't have the privilege to just go out there and just wrestle and perform. Like, there's so much more that goes into it with representation and trying to figure out like what is, like, not being selfish, but also like figuring out when's the right time to do it and when's the right time to, like, there's never a time when I'm not thinking about representation. So I think it would be a great match. Having a match with Sasha Banks would really stand for something great, having two alpha Black females in the ring together and what it represents to women, what it represents to little Black girls, little Black boys, adults. But what it just represents in general will be amazing. But at the same time, like you can't, we have Asuka as well, who is an amazing champion on Raw. Like she had an undefeated streak when I was in NXT with Asuka. So that's another thing that's like really close to my heart as well. Like I was in NXT with Asuka. I got to watch her undefeated streak. I got to watch all these championships that she had. And I actually had a match with Asuka when I was very, very, very new. It was my very first championship match, maybe in front of 150 people. And I remember coming through the curtain and my husband was there again and like having this moment with him that I felt like, oh, wow, I'm new. And I just hung with the NXT Women's Champion who's undefeated. So having that in my mind too, that could be like this huge accomplishment of everything, like just coming together in full circle with Asuka as well. So it's a really big decision. And I'm still trying to get my emotions together from the Royal Rumble match and winning. And it's just so much on the plate. You also have like NXT Io Shirai, you know, like,
right.
I never got to be NXT Women's Champion. So there's so much.
I was going to say that too. That's eluded you. So you could always, it wouldn't be a step back because Charlotte went and did it last year.
Exactly. And like I was trying so hard in NXT. So there's so much at stake with all three brands. I think that's what's amazing with, you know, the anticipation of what's my decision going to be. But I think regardless, we're going to create magic with whoever I choose. It's a lot at stake right now. And I can't make a decision right now.
Well, I think you made a really interesting point there about you don't have the privilege to not think about representation, which is like a really interesting and, you know, it obviously is also sort of sad that it's 2021 and these are issues that are completely not only relevant, like beyond relevant right now. And that like God willing, one day there's a little girl who's inspired by you who doesn't have to think about representation because representation's equal. So like, and it's crazy that is something that still so needs to be talked about, but it absolutely does. And that's just a pressure that I think it's important for people to acknowledge. Cause I don't even think about it that way often enough. Like, man, like it's dope. It's so dope that you play that role. But like, as a white person, I don't think about the pressure of representation. I don't think that I'm going to make people, you know, I mean, that's not totally true. There are moments when there are Jewish people who have done things that I go, hold on now. But obviously it's not the same as being Black in America and sort of the level of pressure that comes with that. So I'm glad you illustrated it because I don't think non-Black people, I don't think white people think about that enough, that there's a lot that comes with that, you know, not just being able to perform, but having to think about the way an entire race of people feels when you perform.
And I think too, having to be new to the sport and do that too.
Yeah, I'm very new but I'm and I will say when I say I don't have the privilege, I'm saying that in the way of I'm blessed and I'm happy to be able to be a part of representation. But it is a little difficult because I am new, but I think it also plays to my advantage as well because I feel like I'm so into just being myself and staying true to myself and I'm able to kind of bring in that unique perspective maybe of just like, I'm just being unapologetically me. I'm very new to this. I don't know everything. So I'm kind of like trying to figure out, like learn the ropes, but at the same time, kind of doing it my way as much as I can as well. But yeah, like it's a little,
it's a handful.
It's a mood. It's a subject. It's a thing to talk about, but I'm grateful that I'm able to be on this WWE platform and be able to be the representation to little girls. But I can't, like you said, I can't wait to the day when it's just a normal thing. It's just a normal thing, and this is just what we do because it's normal. It's just what it is.
So when I saw Rhea Ripley and you at the end of the Rumble, I brought this up with our group chat the other day. Listen. When I see you and Rhea, I think, could we be looking at Stone Cold and The Rock? Like, could we be looking at two people who sort of are always involved with one another and have a long-term story? Is that something that's ever crossed your mind? Because you guys both just jump off the paper, talent, charisma, athleticism, credibility, strength. Like you guys really match up perfectly in so many ways. Has that crossed your guys' minds?
Definitely, in NXT, it's we had a feud in NXT. And I know maybe a lot of people haven't seen what we did at NXT, so it was really exciting to share that moment with Rhea at the Royal Rumble and have two new superstars able to showcase who we are and really show what the future holds, like with us too, and what we're really going to bring to the table. And I love getting in the ring with Rhea because she's talented, she's athletic, she's amazing, and she just brings the best out of you. When you're in the ring with Rhea, you have to bring like 110%. But what's interesting with Rhea, when I started working with her and wrestling with her in NXT, there was a picture that someone had, and I remember looking at it and thinking, we're basically almost the same person. Like if you look at the size, our size and how tall we are, our stature, she's athletic. I'm athletic. She's strong. I'm strong. She's aggressive. I'm aggressive. And we're like almost an equal match if you think about it. So it's really interesting when we get in the ring because we kind of do a lot of the same things. And it's a really cool dynamic. And it's just, I feel like we always create magic when we get in the ring. And I think that it was just so exciting and refreshing at the end of the Royal Rumble to see us two in the ring together. And I'm just like, I think we didn't even scratch the surface.
Mm-mm.
So I'm so excited for the future. I hope we cross paths again. I don't know where she's at, she's staying in NXT, going to Raw, going to SmackDown. I don't know. But all I know is that I hope that we cross paths in the future. And I think that we have a lot more to bring to the table.
Agreed.
And now you talk about sharing the ring with Rhea, but then right after the Rumble, people didn't see this live on the show, but then there were pictures that came out after. You got to share a moment with Montez. So like, how has that been for you? Because you mentioned that he was there when you wrestled in front of 150 people with Asuka. So just like having him, it sounds like every step of the way. Like, has that made it? It had to have made it easier for you, like going through this journey.
Definitely, being with someone that's actually in WWE as well, they understand the ups, the downs. You're able to really confide in him. And the thing about him is that, he watched wrestling growing up and I didn't. And so he's really been there every step of the way. Like even when I first got to NXT, he's like, watch this person, watch that person. Let's watch this WrestleMania. This is where you start with learning the business. And even the whole idea of the braid. Like I was like, I want to wear this braid but I kind of want to wear my hair down. And he's like, no, wear the braid because that makes you stand out. And even if somebody comes to a show, they might not know your name, but they always know that's the girl with the braid. And that's what makes you unique. And he's been there since like the very beginning. And he's been there every single takeover. And it's just cool that I'm able to do what I love alongside the person that I love. We're kind of at the same level and we're like climbing together. So it's a really cool moment. And it's great that whenever I come through the curtain after big moments, he's always right there. And I can always go to him because those are the moments that a lot of people don't see when everything finally just starts hitting you and everything's settling in. And it's like, I don't know what to do, what to say. So I just go to him and just like fall into him. And I'm able to like regroup myself when I'm with him. But it's really good to be with somebody who's also in this business, and he also helps me stay focused on the things that I can control, and helps me keep my perspective in check. And we always check each other all the time because we're like, we want to be happy, we want to enjoy what we do, and so we always make sure that we're happy at work and we're enjoying what we do. And if we're not, we sit there and we talk about it, we figure it out together. So it's great to be able to share these really great moments with my husband.
And I'll tell you one thing, we have a word for someone like Montez on this show. He's a great guy. He really
yes, he is.
He's just whenever I see him, he's just a great guy all the time. Like that, he is one
all
of those.
The time.
There are some times when I'm in a bad mood in the morning and I see his God is good tweet, and I'm like, what happened today, Montez? Can you make it shine for me today? Because it doesn't feel that great. Is he always so positive and upbeat? Because every time I see him, he's got a hearty handshake and a big smile, always.
Yes, the person that everyone sees in the ring for 10, 15, 20 minutes, the person that I get 24/7 at home. I don't understand how he has so much energy. I can't keep up half the time. But no,
what's he doing right now?
He's in
bouncing off the wall somewhere.
I actually just heard him on FaceTime. I think I heard Gary and I heard him screaming. He like randomly screams. Like the other day, I was in the bed and I heard him screaming and like doing this evil laugh. And I'm like, what is, but it's like, it's normal. It's just normal. So I'm just like, oh, okay. So I keep watching TV. And then I look at my phone. I have all these text messages of him doing the animation that I posted. He was like, are you ready for the Super Bowl? And he's just sending me all these crazy text messages and animations. But he's I can call him. Let me.
Yeah, where's he at? Tell him to come say hi.
Babe, come here.
Yeah, come. I mean, you guys live together, for God's sake. You're married.
But yeah, he brings like the joy and the upbeatness out of me, because I'm actually a more like calm and reserved person, but meeting him, I've become more like, outgoing and over the top. But he's like that all the time. Come here.
You tell him I'm timing him, by the way, too. So this is important, because I need to know how fast he comes when Bianca calls. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We're already like 17 seconds, Montez. I mean, this is really, really important. This is a test of all tests.
It's not looking good for him right now.
I mean, if we get up to 45 seconds, I'm going to have serious questions. Yo, man.
Hey.
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, Tess?
With the cup in
With
hand?
the cup.
I find these all around the house, like just everywhere. They're like decorations of the house.
You gotta hydrate people all throughout the house. You never know when they get thirsty.
It's true.
The house.
Well, Montez, two things. One, we were testing
the bathroom and get a little thirsty, you know.
Well, two things. One, we were testing to see how fast you'd come running when Bianca called for you. And number two, she was talking about sort of the joy and energy that you bring to her life. But tell us real quick while you're here, just what did it mean? That
you see the hat too, P?
Yeah, of course. The hat says God is good, right? The man is positive all the time. God is dope. So take us through that moment when you were on the other side of the curtain watching the Rumble, just emotionally, watching your partner go through that moment. What was that like?
Oh man. So like everything like we've been through in the past, pretty much like 5 years, 5+ years now almost, is just kind of like came like to a head and fruition at that point. And like I seen all the struggles, I seen all the heartaches, I seen all the endurance, the sacrifice that she put in throughout the years. So her point at the sign was going like, hey, it was all worth it just for that point. So that's where it all just kind of like gushed out at the same time.
Do you get more anxious for her big moments or yours?
100% hers. I get way more nervous for her moments than mine. Mine, I'm just whatever. But
that's the same.
Yeah.
I'm in there praying backstage. I'm shaking when he's about to wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm like screaming because he scares me.
Because like
he's scary. He flops.
Because
a lot of high risk maneuvers.
When I'm out there, I feel like I can control the situation. But when she's out there, I feel like it's all her. So I'm just like, I have no way of protecting her at all or making sure she's okay. So it's just like a thing of like, all right, Lord, I'm gonna trust you to do your damn thing. You know what I mean? So
the only time he gets quiet is when I'm wrestling. Somebody recorded him. He gets really, really quiet and serious, and like he doesn't talk. That's the only time he's quiet.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a scary circumstance. You can't just the one time you can't do anything to help. It's just and listen, this is a physical game. Now Bianca was also just telling us, last thing for you, Montez. Bianca was telling us about you being a wrestling fan growing up and putting her on to stuff. Early on, what was the stuff on the network that you were having Bianca watch to really start understanding what this business is all about?
Oh man, that's a good question. It was a lot. Mostly just like because of her built, like she's a tank, man. So like I had her watching like a lot of Brock, a lot of Jazz, a lot of Ezekiel Jackson. A lot of the big guys that are like big and did like a lot of power moves, China, a lot of people that was strong and could do really strong stuff. Lex Luger, who else? Ultimate Warrior. Jesus, I'm just thinking smart off the head. Brock, Bobby Lashley, pretty much anybody that had like a powerhouse arsenal, like she was watching them. And then the fact that she's a hybrid, she's athletic. So it's like, well, now you can do these power moves, but had her watch some of the also the cruiserweight stuff, like Rey Mysterio, Eddie, a couple of those guys too, just because she can pretty much do it all. I'm not that flexible in my genes, so I just passed that on to her. So
No, well, thanks for jumping in, man. You guys are so cute.
Thank you.
The podcast is going to explode. So,
Thanks, babe.
No, appreciate it. Y'all be easy, man. Make sure y'all hydrate.
Because Montez said so, I'm gonna take a sip of water.
there you go.
There you go. Hydrate.
You need that hydration. Yo, that's so important too. I mean, is that something that people take for granted? Like a lot of times, you know, one of the main things I hear the veterans in the TV, like in TV Locker, Bianca, it's like, you know, Booker's there and JBL's there. So it's a lot of vets all there talking. And one of the main things I'll ever hear them complain about is about when talent isn't taking advantage of who they are, meaning you are strong. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't ever do the high spots, but that it needs to be sporadic because you need to show people what your power is, that your strength is such a thing. Did it take time for you to understand that? Who helped you sort of kind of figure out what the Bianca Belair performer is like in the ring?
Well, my coach Sarah Amato at the Performance Center, she did her thing with me, because when I tell you, I knew nothing when I walked into the Performance Center. I think I walked in with track tennis shoes on and CrossFit knee sleeves, and they're like, "Where are your wrestling shoes? Where are your wrestling knee pads?" I'm like, "Wrestling shoes? What do you mean?" So, like, she taught me everything. But like, the Performance Center is so amazing with all the coaches and all the resources that it has. But she really taught me how to what I should do, what I shouldn't do. Mark Kearney also, when he came to the Performance Center, he had a talk with me when he was like, what do you want to be? When people look at you, what do you want them to see? Like, before, like, how did you want to be able to step into the ring and people know who you are and what you're about without even having to open your mouth. And your moveset matches who you are and it makes sense. So I really spent a lot of time with Sarah Amato and really picking like different move sets that really showcased who I was athletically, even like my body language, facials. I really just, when I got to the Performance Center, I honed in on my craft. I completely stopped doing CrossFit. Anything on the outside, I stopped, because I felt like this was the opportunity of a lifetime. If I want to be successful with this, I have to completely like indulge myself into this, and that's what I did. And but I was like my husband and Sarah Model, those are the two, Mark Henry, those are the three that really had me focusing on myself and doing what's for me, and understanding that just because I see somebody else do something that works for them, is cool for them, doesn't mean that it's for me. You
Right.
know, so
Yeah.
everything is not for everybody, and sticking to exactly what works for me.
So speaking of just you being you, are there any sides of yourself that you haven't got to show the WWE universe yet? Because I mean, just judging from the Chronicle, I feel like the person that we saw up to that point was just a completely, like, we got 1/10 of who you were after watching the Chronicle and seeing just all that you have and all that you've been through and all that you bring to the table. So like, what other sides of yourself are you hoping to show to people, at least going forward in your career?
Me, I'm just, at this point, I'm an open book. I feel like I've made it through like so much, and I'm at a point where I'm so happy that I'm able to really open up and just be comfortable with opening up and sharing all parts of myself. I feel like in NXT, I was, that was like the development of Bianca Belair and figuring out who she is. And, at the end of my NXT career, I feel like I was one person. Now coming on to Raw and SmackDown, I feel like I'm reintroducing myself, and a lot of people that might not have known who I was, or just now getting to know who I am. So I feel like I'm reintroducing myself right now. I'm starting from starting all over again, and I'm excited to take people along the ride and the journey of really getting to know who Bianca Belair is. It's just the beginning phases, and once I go through like WrestleManias and more trials and tribulations throughout my career, I feel like I can then start evolving and navigating who Bianca Belair is. And I just want to show all different sides of me, because like I always say, I don't want to be put into a box as a person or as a wrestler. I'm multifaceted, and I want to showcase that. And I want to normalize like knowing that you're good at something, and being able to be proud about it and talk about it, and not be shamed or thought of, like, not be called like a show off, or say like, oh, you think you're better. Like, no, I just know I'm good at this. Let's normalize being proud of being good at what we're good at.
But doesn't it go deeper than being good though? Aren't you the EST?
Facts. I mean, you did say not even just better. You are best.
Yeah, the best.
Yes,
Yeah,
the best. Knowing that you're the best at something and being proud about it.
Would you ever have, and has it ever been discussed, a hair versus hair match with Bianca Belair? I mean,
Man,
come
people
on.
bring it up all the time. And they ask like, do I ever think I'll be a part of that? I think that it's pretty much inevitable because I mean, so much of who I am is my braid. I mean, she even has a name. Her name is Destiny. So she's
Destiny.
like this is Destiny, and I think it makes sense, right? So, and I think that it's really fun to have feuds sometimes that aren't always a part of the title picture. And if I have a hair versus hair match,
that's bigger than the title.
I mean, I'm gonna say it's bigger than the title. Title's big, you know. But there will be a lot at stake, and I think a lot of people could get very invested in it. I don't want to lose my braid. I don't want to lose my hair.
I don't want you to lose it either.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I'd be down for it.
Is it does Destiny
lost Destiny? I would cry.
Well, here's my question. So would you cry if you lost Destiny, or would you cry for a minute and then be like, well, there are some upsides here?
I mean, I would cry, but you know, my hair is so versatile. I can always make something work, and she can grow back. It's fine. It might take a couple of years, but I would definitely cry. I would be sad.
Are there moments?
I would fight my heart out. That would be the match of my life besides the title match. Especially at WrestleMania, I'm going to fight for my life there. But that would be another time where like it would be a lot on the line. Are there any moments during matches when Destiny presents challenges or like, you know, you literally trip on it? I mean, have there ever been any sort of complications caused by it? Yeah, it's been a trial and error type of thing. I've learned if you watch some of my matches, you'll see where I'm doing certain moves where I actually grab it. And I don't even know that I'm grabbing it because it's muscle memory now. It's been a trial and error of figuring out when I need to get it out of the way. Like when someone does a drop down, I do a front handspring, I usually grab it so I won't trip over it because I have tripped over it before. If someone's throwing a clothesline, I will grab my braid because some stuff has happened before where it's gotten in the way, and I want to be able to use. Oh wait, Bianca froze for a second. I think you want to be able to use it as an asset. Is that what you're saying? To my advantage. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So you broke up a little bit, but you want it to be used to your advantage, not be a hindrance. Which I remember, and it has, like, you used to use it as a weapon, and now though we've seen a softer side of Bianca Belair, because I think it's been like a year, and the next thing I know, you used it on Reggie, and I'm afraid that it's gonna go back out the arsenal. Destiny is there. What's going on? I went out. No, I want to use it only when I need to use it. Right. I don't want to use it all the time, but I also want to get, when people start trying to grab on it a lot, that's when I really start having to use it. Because I have to teach people, do not touch my hair, because when you do, you will get whipped. Good lesson. That's a good lesson for people in general. Yeah. Okay. For people in life, like, don't touch my hair because you will get whipped. But I don't want to use it all the time. I only want to use it when I need to. And in that moment, in this big moment of my career, when I just won the Royal Rumble, and I'm trying to decide who I want to pick, and he's just all in my business. I don't even know why he was out there. Right. You have a damn sommelier. You're like, how is that? I don't even understand what's happening here. Yeah, without a bottle of wine, too. Why are you even out here? And he's talking, and I'm talking. I'm just like, what are you doing? So then I needed to get him out the ring. So that's when it came back. Friday was a good night. Bianca, listen, I think I speak for all wrestling fans. I do not know a soul who did not get immense joy from seeing you win. The whole wrestling world is rooting for you. So enjoy the moment, and thank you so much for making time to hang out. Thank you for having me.